Hello, 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 everybody. How's everyone doing? I am tired. It is Saturday, May 28th. It's my mom's birthday, so happy birthday, Mom. I'm going to be taking her out to dinner later. But, it's been busy since the last time I came and did one of these, so I'm going to get started. I am working on the old shoe house. This one by Dominic Davidson from Diamond Art Club. This is the size of it. So I am, like trying to judge from what I've got done, like right about in here somewhere, because I've got these two ducks done. So I'm like right in here. So, and then I have these mushrooms to do. And then I'll be done. So that's what I'm working on. Okay, so let's see, where to begin. We all know my oldest daughter's getting married, so we have found the place to have her reception. It's very pretty. It's got a lot of wood in it, these big wooden beams and the wood floor, and it's very pretty. And the people who run it seem very, very nice, so we're happy with that. So that's done. And we thought we knew the church she was going to get married at, but the deacon at the church is not being very cooperative with them with trying to figure out, what time the wedding would have to be, and so might be looking for a different church. Yeah. But we went on, let's see, May 7th. Our youngest daughter graduated from college. Yay! We had like 20 something people for her at the graduation. That was awesome. And so that was great. It's like, woohoo, last one done. Yay. And then we went straight from her college. We spent the night. We took everybody out for dinner afterwards, and had dinner to celebrate her. And then the next morning, everybody else went their own ways and went home. And my husband and I, along with my best friend of over 30 years and her husband, we all drove to New Orleans and went down to Bourbon Street and explored that for a while. That was fun. It was nice to see Bourbon Street. We got to see a parade where at the end of the parade, this young man proposed to his girlfriend. So that was awesome. So my husband and I are like, okay, our Bourbon Street experience is complete. We got to see a parade. Yay. And so that was fun. And then the next day, we hopped on a cruise ship and spent a week together cruising around. Had a great time. Oh my God, it was so much fun. May 11th was my birthday, so we just happened to be at one of the islands on our stops that day, and so we spent a day at the beach, eating and drinking, having a grand old time. The water was still cold, y'all. Took my breath away. It was still cold in May. No. But we had a great time. We had a magician. Oh my gosh. Every night at dinner, and excuse my hands are a mess. At dinner every night, a magician was walking around and doing tricks, and he found us every night. So good. So good. One night, he did this thing where he put 2 coins in my left hand and 1 coin in my right hand. Or no. 2 coins in my left hand, had me close my hand, and he had the 1 coin in his hand. And I'm sitting there and I'm grabbing it tight, right? So I can feel the 2 coins in my hand. And he just reaches over with his and pushes down. He's like, I'm putting the other coin in your hand. He's like, okay, now drop. And when I dropped, there were 3 coins. Blew my mind. I love magic. I don't want to know how it works. I don't want to know the ins and outs of it. I love magic. And then another night, I mean, he did something every night, but these were the ones that really just stuck with me. Another night, my best friend's husband, he would tap him. He's like, okay, close your eyes. And when I tap you, I want you to raise your arm on the side that I tap you. So he would like touch his left shoulder and he would raise his left arm. And the magician would touch his right shoulder and he'd raise his right arm. And he did that for a couple of times. He's like, okay. And he's like, now I'm going to tap you a few times. I want you to count the taps. You don't have to raise your arm. Just count the taps. And when I'm done, I want you to tell me how many taps and on which shoulder. And then he went and tapped my best friend's shoulder 3 times. And when he asked her husband, he said 3 times on my right shoulder. Boof, mind blown. Don't know how it works. Don't care to know how it works. It was awesome. And then on the last night of our cruise, he asked my best friend's husband to think of somebody that he hasn't seen in a while and write their name down. And so he sent her husband off to another table so he couldn't be accused of, knowing what the name was by how he was writing out the name, because sometimes if you write something out, you can tell what it is by the strokes of the pen, right? So her husband went off to another table to write down the name. And while we were waiting on him, he pulled out a deck of cards. So we know he wasn't looking at her husband because he was focused on us. And he had this deck of cards and he had my husband pick out a card and he showed it to us and it was a Queen of Diamonds. No, King of Diamonds. And so he put the card back in, shuffled it some more, and he's like, we're just sitting there talking while he's shuffling. And I'm watching, right? I'm watching because I want to see what he does. And sorry, I should be diamond painting while I do this, but I'm just so excited by it. And so he's like, okay, I don't know which card you had, right? And he's like, no. He goes, so I'm just going to pick a random card. And he picks this card off the top of the deck. And he's like, he tells my husband to hold his hand out. He goes, I'm going to put the card in your hand and it's going to be your card. And I see as he's going to place the card in his hand that it's the Queen of Diamonds, not the King. And I'm like, oh, it's the wrong card. We're going to catch him. It's going to be wrong. And he puts the card down in his hand, immediately lifts his hand away and tells my husband to flip the card over. And when he flips it over, it's the King of Diamonds. Y'all, it wasn't even 2 seconds. How? I don't want to know. I don't care if any of you are magicians out there and could explain it to me. I don't want to know. Blew my mind. I was like, that is not the card you put in his hand. I saw what card you put in his hand. That was not the card you put in his hand. And he's just smiling. And my best friend was like, yeah, you put down a Queen of Diamonds and now it's a King. What in the... And Dwayne's like, really? And I'm like, yeah, I saw it as he put it down into your hand. Mind blown. So we gave him a really good tip because he just provided excellent entertainment for us every night. It was awesome. So awesome. They send out surveys after every cruise and I'm like, he needs his own show. Put him in the comedy club one night and just let him blow everybody's minds because I love magic, y'all. That is like, I watch America's Got Talent and whenever a magician comes on, I'm enthralled. I love it. I don't need to know why it happens. I don't need to know how it works. I just love it. Love it. So, anyways, so we spent a week on our cruise ship. Saw on one of our last sea days. Oh. Okay. So, I'm going to backtrack. We went to the comedy club every night. And the host at the comedy club, his name was Marky Mark. So if you ever go on a Carnival cruise and you come across Marky Mark, he is going to be a cruise director very soon. He is awesome. Oh my gosh. Made the cruise. Just made it. Loved him. So every night he'd come out to introduce who the new comedy guy or girl was for the night. And he'd come up and he'd do this little dance on the stage and everything. And our friends never stayed for the late comedy show, which was like 11:30 at night. And Dwayne and I are like, hell no, this is our vacation. We're seeing all of them. And so one night when Marky Mark comes up on stage, we always sit at the front of the stage. We don't care if we get picked on or harassed by the comedians. We think it's hilarious. And so we always sit up front. And Marky Mark comes up and he does a little lap dance for me. And I'm just like, hell yeah, all right. Enjoying the lap dance. And Dwayne looks at him, he goes, but she's mine. And Mark just started laughing. He's like, did y'all hear that? He said, but she's mine. Crack me up. So the next day I tell my best friend and her husband, I'm like, y'all missed it. I got a lap dance last night. And they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we left and we missed that. I'm like, it was great. I loved it. And so the last night of the club, the last night, no, it was our last sea day. We're all out by the pool. It was kind of a cloudy, cold day. And so we're, bundled up in towels, just enjoying our last day, right? I'm reading a book, having a good time, hanging out with my bestie and her husband and my husband, just having a good time, listening to the music that's being played. And it's about an hour and a half before dinner. And my best friend and her husband are like, okay, well, we're going to go get ready because she takes a lot longer than I do to get ready. I don't wear makeup. I don't do my hair. I just go take a shower, change clothes. I'm ready. My husband and I can be ready in 30 minutes. So we're like, all right, we'll see y'all at dinner. So we're just sitting there chilling. And I look over and I look out to sea. And I nudge my husband and I'm like, hey, are those funnel clouds? Y'all, we saw 3 water spouts out in the ocean. It was so cool. As long as we stayed away from them. They were very cool. But it was really cool because we watched them grow from these little bitty funnel clouds in the sky to where they grew and grew and grew, and then they connected with the water. Freaking tornadoes over water. I used to live in Tornado Alley. I don't anymore. I don't miss that life at all. But it was cool to watch that. I've never seen a water spout before. So that was really cool, except on nature TV or whatever. So that was really cool. So we get to dinner. We're going to dinner. And I tell my best friend, I'm like, look. And I got a video of it. And I told her, I said, look, y'all aren't going to believe what you missed. She goes, we missed something else. And I'm like, yeah. And I showed her the video. She goes, oh my gosh, we always miss the good stuff. And I'm like, that's what happens when you have to leave early. You miss out on all the good stuff. So we go to dinner, and then we go to a show afterwards, and we're just hanging out, having a good time. Piano bar was great. Oh gosh, what was his name? Adam at the piano bar. Very young, very cute. I'm like, hey, I have a single daughter. He was very good, kept us entertained whenever we'd go to the piano bar. He'd never tell us how old he was. He looked very, very young. And so when somebody would buy him a drink, like somebody bought him a White Russian, and I'm like, hey, you're not 21, you can't drink that. And he's like, what? This is just milk. And then somebody else bought him a drink that was a little pink. And I'm like, and I guess that's pink lemonade, huh? He goes, absolutely. So anytime somebody would buy him an alcoholic drink, we'd think of some non-alcoholic drink that he was drinking. So that was fun. We had a good time with him. And then the last night of comedy, we're back in the comedy club and we're back up front. And, we watched one of the early shows and then the mid show. And then my friends are like, okay, we're going to leave because, we have to be off the ship by 8:30 in the morning. So they're like, we're not staying up. We got to be off the ship at 8:30. We have a 9-hour drive tomorrow. Same thing for us, but we're like, it's our last night. We're hanging out. So Marky Mark comes out to introduce the last comedian of the cruise. And I get another lap dance. My friend was so mad that she missed it again. I was just like, girl. You have got to stick around for everything. You never know what's going to happen. I love going on cruises. It is the most relaxing, the most fun vacations. It's just, we don't have to do anything. Oh, the food is always so good. Someone else makes up my bed. They cook, they clean. I don't have to do any of that. And it's just so good. So much fun. So if you've never been on a cruise, I highly recommend it. So after the cruise, we come home. It was kind of sad. It's like, oh, back to real life. Real life stinks. And so we come home, and on the 21st, I went with my 2 daughters and my oldest daughter's best friend wedding dress shopping. And we had a 2-hour appointment, and so that was fun. Didn't find a dress. We thought we found a dress, but the more she thought about it, the more she was just like, and I told her, I said, if you're not instantly, this is the dress, no. You have to love your dress, not just say, it's okay. No, you have to love your dress. So, no dress that day, which is fine. I told her I wasn't going to let her buy a dress at the first shop. Anyways, she needs to try on multiple dresses, not just 5 or 6 that you can try on in a 2-hour appointment. So, we're going to hit more shops and try those out. Oh, on my vacation, my husband got me this nice little ring for my birthday. Yes. So I got a new ring for my birthday. That was nice. And then this past Thursday, Friday, we loaded up our youngest daughter's stuff and moved her to Fort Worth because she got a job. We're so happy. She went to a bunch of job fairs and didn't really walk away with any hope of having a job. And we were like, girl, you got to get a job. Dad and I can't keep supporting you. It's been a long 5 years since you got out of high school. College was expensive. We're kind of running out of money here. And but she got a job last week. She'll be teaching English to freshmen. So we moved her to Fort Worth. So her and her boyfriend have this, there's a cool story behind where they're living. So his grandparents have this house, and behind the house is this tiny little 1-bedroom house. They call it an apartment, but it's a house. But it's tiny. I mean, super tiny. And turns out his maternal grandfather lived in that little house when he was in the military and was stationed in Fort Worth. But there wasn't the big house in front. That was the only house on that property. Well, then he got transferred to Alabama, so he sold it's a rock house. He sold that little rock house to complete strangers. Complete strangers. Well, they moved into the little house and then built the big house on the front of the property. Well, then they sold the house to his paternal grandparents before his mom and dad ever met. So it was like his mom and dad were destined to meet. It was so cool. So both of his grandfathers have lived on that property. His maternal grandmother didn't live there because I don't guess they were married yet. But like his mom and dad lived there in that little house that they're now in before, right after they got married. And his aunt and uncle have lived in that house, and some cousins have lived in that house. So now my daughter and her boyfriend are living in that house. So it's kind of cool. It's kind of like a full circle thing. And it's tiny, y'all. It's tiny. But, fresh out of college, there's, no kids. They're not even married yet. So it's a good place for them to live. And the rent's dirt cheap, because it's his grandparents' place, so they don't really make them pay a whole lot. So it's a perfect way for them to save up money to get a place. So yeah, so we left here around 3:30 Thursday afternoon, got to Fort Worth at 8:30 with the help of his parents and his grandparents. We got everything unloaded in an hour, and then we went back to his parents' place and they fed us. Very late dinner. I don't normally eat that late, but I was hungry. So we ate, and then we stayed up till Well, by the time we all finished, it was 1:30. And then we took showers and everything. But we were up till 2 a.m. just sitting there laughing and talking and drinking some wine and just really getting to know his parents. I mean, we've met them a few times, but it's always been quick things. But so we really like his parents. They're fun. We had a good time. And then yesterday we stayed till about 3:30 and played games. And then we came home, and we got home around 9:30 last night. So that was fun. I'm tired, but it was fun. And I really haven't been diamond painting because I talk with my hands, y'all. I'm sorry. But yeah, so that's where our life is right now. My daughter's unpacking. She keeps sending me pictures of how the place is coming along since she's unpacking. And she's really excited. So we're excited for her. I don't know when we'll go back up. We still have some of her stuff here because we refused to take our truck because gas prices are just outrageous, y'all. So we were like, whatever doesn't fit in the car. Because she had her truck loaded down. We're like, whatever doesn't fit in our car can be brought up there, or you can come get it at a later date. Because, no, we're not taking the gas guzzling truck. Not happening. So she still has a few things here. Not a whole lot, but a few things. But we are officially empty nesters. Heck yeah, baby. Yeah. It's great. And so what do I do as an empty nester the very first? I'm working next week. What? Don't even get to enjoy my first week. It's crazy. But I had promised the girl who I'm going to be working for a while back, not really realizing that that was going to be my first week of freedom. So that's okay. I'll have some extra money. It'll be good. Which is good because amongst all of this, last Sunday we had storms come through and high winds, very high winds. Blew, our roof is, a little over a year old, our new metal roof. Blew one of the sections of metal roof off. Not even realize, and our hay shed, we almost lost the roof off of it, so it's got to be repaired because some of the purling that holds it together broke. So luckily the people that did our roof also did the shed. So, or maybe that's not lucky. Maybe that's a sign of their quality of work. I don't know. Anyway, not even thinking about it being Sunday, I call the place that did our roof and nobody answers. So, and I'm like, okay, well, maybe they don't get in until 9 because it was a little after 8. I waited till after 8 to call because most businesses open at 8. Anyways, so I call, get an answering machine. I leave a message telling them, hey, piece of my roof flew off. Really would like somebody to come out and fix it. I'm calling every 30 minutes afterwards because nobody's returning my phone call. I'm like, forget this. I have the owner's cell phone number. So I call him and I'm like, hey, we lost a piece of our roof last night. And he goes, really? What happened? And I'm like, that storm that blew through? And he goes, what storm? He only lives 30 minutes away, y'all. I'm like, y'all didn't get any of that? And he's like, no. He goes, did you get rain? I'm like, yeah, 1.5 inches. He's like, oh, that's awesome. We're in a severe drought here. And I'm like, yeah, but unfortunately the wind that came with it blew a piece of roof off my house. And he's like, oh no. He goes, okay, well, I'll get somebody out tomorrow to fix it. And I'm like, okay, fine. It's not supposed to rain today. I'm not really worried about it. Well, he calls me back like 10 minutes later and he goes, hey, one of my workers is like, no, I'm going to go fix it now. So he's going to come out. And I'm like, awesome, great, appreciate it. Thank you very much. So the guy comes out and he's like, yeah, he goes, this piece is damaged. It's got some holes in it. He goes, I'm going to put it up there for right now. He goes, caulk the holes, fix it so that your roof is covered because we're supposed to get more storms this week. But we're going to have to order, because my roof is green. He goes, we're going to have to order a piece to replace this with. And as soon as we get it, we'll come out and replace it. I'm like, good, let me show you the shed. So I took him over, showed him the shed where it had broken stuff. I said, so we need to get that fixed too. And he's like, okay. He goes, I'll let the owner know. And I'm like, all right, great, thank you. And as he's leaving, the owner calls me back. And he's like, hey, he goes, did he come out? And I was like, yeah, he's just now leaving. I said, I really appreciate you getting out here so fast. He goes, yeah. He goes, I was on my way to church. And I'm like, oh crap, it's Sunday. I am so sorry. I didn't even think about it being Sunday. He goes, no, not a problem. He goes, I'm glad you called. And I'm like, yeah, I didn't even think about it being Sunday. So I really appreciate you sending someone out. Well, then Tuesday night, we had another storm blow through. Okay, first of all, Sunday, we had made, a few weeks ago, we had made these, it was before Easter. So last month, we had made these benches that the back folds over, and when you put the two benches together, it's a picnic table. So we made those, and I have them sitting out on my porch as benches. Well, the storm Sunday blew them across the porch, tossed one of them upside down, and broke it. So we had to fix that too. Okay, so on to Tuesday. Another storm comes through. More high wind. 2 more pieces of my roofing came loose. These didn't blow completely off, but you can hear them up there. Bam, 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 bam. Very annoying. Didn't get much sleep that night. So I called the owner again the next day, and I'm like, hey, we had some more pieces come loose. If you could have some guys come out here and fix it, because Dwayne's on his way to work. He can't fix it. He's like, no, we don't want y'all on the roof. I'll send somebody out. And I'm like, all right. So the same guy that came out Sunday came out, but he had somebody with him. And he's like, again? I'm like, yeah, I know. Now, mind you, when we had this roof put on, yes, my house is 2,100 square feet. The roof is bigger because we have a 12-foot porch that wraps all the way around. So the roof is bigger than the house. But still, it took them 3 months to put my new roof on because they were lazy. They would show up at like 9 o'clock in the morning, leave for lunch, take a 2-hour lunch, come back, and then leave at 4. So not much work was getting done on my roof every day. Hence why it took them so stinking long to do it. And I complained about it once it started dragging on and on. Well, these 2 guys that came out had nothing to do with the installation of my roof. 2 new guys. And, they get up there, and I'm just outside picking up debris from the storm. And I heard one of them say, why are all these screws backing out? And I'm just like, great. So I text my husband, and I'm like, they're talking about the screws backing out. And then, so they screw down what had come loose, and they come down, and they're like, hey, there are not enough screws on that roof. And I'm like, yeah, my husband and I were looking at that when the first one came loose, and, we were kind of going to ask Gary to give us a box of screws so that we could go and screw it down like they do in Florida. There's going to be a screw every foot. He's like, no. When we come back out to replace the one that broke, we're going to bring extra guys to drill and a bunch of more screws, and we're going to fix your roof the way it should have been done the first time. He goes, I don't know why they didn't put enough screws in. And I'm like, I just kind of looked at him with this look. He goes, yeah, they don't work for us anymore. And I'm like, good. He laughed, and he looks at the other guy, and he goes, she says, good. And I'm like, it wasn't the best experience. He goes, yeah, we heard that a lot. So hopefully they'll come out next week and fix my roof. And then they got to fix the shed. So yeah, it's been crazy. I've gotten hardly anything done. So I'm going to get off here. And I'm going to get diamond painting because I have to leave at 3:30 to go take my mom out to dinner, and it's like 12:30, 1 o'clock. I don't have a clock in here, and I'm using my phone, so I don't know what time it is. But I hope everyone has a great day. Hope everybody's life is a little more calmer than mine. We still need rain down here, so if y'all could pray for rain for Texas, that'd be great. If y'all are getting rain, send it our way. We could really use it. And y'all all have a blessed day. Bye.